Every market cycle has that moment where things begin to shift. And I believe we are just arriving there now. We know Bitcoin just snapped out of its longest RSI downtrend in months, a move that usually signals something big is about to happen. And right on cue, Michael Saylor stepped in, as always, with one of his largest purchases. And why? What does he see? Well, across the Pacific, we know Hong Kong is building. And if China follows, this could very well rewrite the entire crypto game. But this story is larger than just Bitcoin. Ethereum is also at a historic demand level. The BNB is popping off, and altcoins seem they're lining up as well for what could be a massive explosion on the uptrend. And then there's this to top it all off. Trump's team just created their own stablecoin on BNB. And why would they do that now? All these pieces are moving at the same time, but the question is, I think we're all wondering, is this a final trap, or is it the start of one of the biggest moves yet, hopefully up into the parabolic run of the bull run we've all been anticipating for so long. So stick around. Hello, my name is Jessica. I'm so happy you're here. And without further ado, let us get into today's video. So, all right, checking out Bitcoin on the daily, we will see that Bitcoin is at 86,000 and some change, which is great news because if you saw my yesterday's video, you would know that we were at 87,000, and this means that Bitcoin has been holding on strong. What else is going on? So if we check out the Bitcoin ETF inflows or outflows, depending on how the institutional investors are feeling, you would see that we ended yesterday, March 24th, Monday, open day, first day open of the market, with $84.2 million flowing into the Bitcoin ETFs across the top institutional funds. So this is also a very bullish indicator for Bitcoin's longevity. Okay, so Rect Capital here on X shared this chart with us. And this is what I was referencing in my intro, which basically means that the RSI downtrend, okay, officially has stopped its downtrending motion, as you can see on this line here. And you can see where we are now, where I'm circling with my mouse. We have finally broken out and we are going up now. So typically, historically, since this references momentum in the space, this signals, well, historically signals to an uptrend in Bitcoin's price. So this is really great news. And not only that, as I mentioned in my intro as well, we had Michael Saylor, who followed through with his cryptic marketing signal that I shared in yesterday's video. He actually did go ahead and buy or acquire 6,911 BTC for approximately $84,529 equivalent dollars in Bitcoin. So this is tremendous. And this basically means that Strategy, this company, now holds a total of 506,137 Bitcoin. So this is unbelievable. He has, I believe at this point, like well over 2%. What is it? 2.4% of the entire Bitcoin supply. Amazing. And here we zoom in on this news here. This was shared by Watch Guru. And you can see here, they acquire another 584 million in Bitcoin. So this is quite incredible. Yeah, here you go. Highlighted. Yeah, they now own 2.4% of the entire Bitcoin supply. Very bullish. And now here, I'm going to play a snippet from a news channel from CNBC live in Singapore, where you have them conversing about, like, top investors conversing about Hong Kong and China's soon participation in the future of crypto. So let's take a listen.
Hong Kong is always the gateway to the Chinese mainland market, and Hong Kong is always used as the lab for experiments, either in economies or in new industries or new sectors. From what we run regulated exchange, regulated funds in Hong Kong. From our conversations with the regulators, I think in a way they are trying their best to use the one country, two systems as a experiment.
One
If it is
country, two
successful,
systems.
I think there is the possibility the mainland China government will reconsider their stance towards the crypto and Web3
Do you
industry.
think that's inevitable? Do you think the mainland government will definitely bring crypto back, or it's still a wait and see?
For a government to have a clear message, it takes time. From what
Right.
I know so far, our conversations with the mainland professionals and related sources, I think they are now looking at the market and see what's going on in other countries, what's happening in Web3 industries, and then they may come up with their response towards this industry.
I'm curious though.
Did you get that? And China doesn't like to get left behind. You would know if you've been following news in general or my channel. Hopefully you are. Like and subscribe, please. That it's like US, China, and then who is under? I don't want to say it's North Korea, but North Korea is climbing its way up very, very fast. But China's just a notch below the US and Bitcoin holdings. And China's watching. We know China's extremely competitive against the US, as is the US with China. And China mainland is watching the US. You better believe that. So with all the moves that the US is making on, Trump saying, we need to pass stablecoin regulation and we're going to make US the biggest crypto friendly nation of the world, like China's listening. They are listening. So I believe from a competitive standpoint, a global markets competitive standpoint, they will be welcoming and fostering a business environment for crypto. So things are just getting started globally. So I hope you can hear that today and know that we are so far from the top of where Bitcoin and the crypto market and the real crypto tokens, we are so far from their top that actually, I don't know if there really is a top. I think we can see a world here soon where it will just eventually the Bitcoin and crypto markets will decouple, break away from traditional finance and break away from their 4-year cycle as well, linked to the halving. And there will reach a point where Bitcoin will just continue to rise in value and the crypto market for those real crypto projects, your Chainlink, your Ondo, your BNB, as I'm going to show you in a moment here, where they will just continue to grow in value. And their currencies will be the equivalent of a nation state, of a country's currency. Like that is the future I foresee. So, and I know many see this as well. I don't know if others have said that there eventually will be no top for the crypto market as a whole, but that is where I believe we're going. So anyway, pausing that thought and coming back to reality for a second, we have Arthur Hayes here. And the reason I even share Arthur Hayes' content with you is not just because, I think through what I share with you. And the reason I share Arthur Hayes' post here with you on X is because in the past, he has been right on calling the top of a market or calling the beginning of a bull run cycle. He has also been wrong or a little early. So he's not, an AI, but he's been good at foreseeing movements. And so I don't know if what he's sharing here is right, but I do know he did an interview with Kyle Chasse, my partner, my love, my fiance. Anyway, enough of the affection. Anyway, it could be a very good interview to watch. I'm excited to watch it where they discuss the market. So that's coming up soon on Kyle's channel. But for the meantime, let's read what he has to say. And so he says that he bets Bitcoin will hit 110K in value. We'll see $110,000 Bitcoin before it retests again at 76.5 thousand. Now, I don't know if that's true, the retesting part, because I have more information to share with you here in a moment. But the part we can focus on, if anything, is that he thinks it's going to go up to $110,000. And why? So this is really, really loaded. Let me know if you want me to do a deep dive and share with you what I learn on the impacts of quantitative tightening versus quantitative easing on the US's treasury bonds, because we know there's this very interesting dynamic between the Fed printing dollars in the US borrowing, and there's this whole relationship, right? So Arthur goes on to say, this is his reasoning. So think about it and let me know how this makes sense to you. But he says the Fed is going from quantitative tightening, where they're removing money from circulation in many ways, right, to quantitative easing or the printing for treasuries. And even though in this last FOMC announcement, the Fed didn't go straight for quantitative easing, printing of money. They did say they were going to loosen up on their quantitative tightening, which basically means they were going to stop removing so much liquidity from the market, which ultimately is not exactly like quantitative easing, but it has a similar effect of increasing liquidity in the market, which creates this like rich feeling in people and makes them feel like I can go take out a loan, I can spend more, it creates a bullish environment. So he believes that this quantitative tightening loosening that the FOMC just announced they would do last week will have a transitory inflation effect in the market. So he says he's going to expound on it in his next essay. So we'll have to hang tight for that. But very interesting theory in any case, and I can see how it makes sense, but not necessarily the retest part. We'd have to go find out more to know why he's foreseeing another retest, right? I want to know. Let me know if you do too, and I'll probably cover it for us. So anyway, what else is going on in the market? So what else is that we know the SEC, according to the cryptonews.com, SEC forms a crypto 2.0 task force to enhance trade oversight. So what is this? This is so interesting. And at first it had like a repulsive effect on me, but then I read through it and I'll read some of it for you here. But basically they're creating this DART system as a highlight on the screen here. And as an effort to seek enhancing transparency and oversight, because they've had this concern. And as much as you might be a decentralization maxi or a true crypto libertarian, the point is, like you don't have to agree out loud, but that there has been a lot of manipulation and data discrepancies in this space, right? That's how so many people get ripped off. Even VCs get ripped off, okay? So this effort, who knows how they're going to do it, though? That's what's so interesting to me. Like, I don't know, is this the beginning of quantum computing implementation? I know they've already been using quantum computing, but basically what this DART system would do, it stands for Digital Asset Reporting and Tracking System. And this system would record both public blockchain transactions and private off-chain trades to track digital asset ownership across different platforms. That's why I said initially, I was like, boo, this sucks. This is not what we signed up for in crypto. It's about be your own bank, all these things. But what is this? Okay, so this is what the SEC clarified in a court filing. They said digital asset securities transactions, both on-chain and off-chain, should adhere to the same trade reporting requirements as standard securities. So they believe this regulatory approach will protect retail investors and provide greater legal clarity and maintain market integrity. Now, we know there's in large part, like not just for retail, but even from like a family office, family fund standpoint, so many are skeptical of investing in crypto because it's just not very clear all the time. Like, yes, decentralized protocols do everything on chain, right? But there are many centralized protocols or companies that will do some of their transactions off chain, right, to speed up the process, and then they'll grab that data and they'll report it back into their protocol, into their like private blockchain. But you don't know how that data was agreed upon, how like the data that they choose to do off chain for speed purposes, right? And then reaggregate into the system. And so it's in those instances, mainly based off of what I read, that this draft system would be good at transparency. Regulators have been growing concerned about off-chain transactions because unlike decentralized finance or DeFi platforms, which execute trades directly on a blockchain, right? That's why we love decentralization. Centralized trading platforms often facilitate transactions off-chain, which keep internal records instead of recording them publicly. So you have to watch out for that. Because how did they? It's like they just go calculate data in this like black box and then they report it back onto their chain, right? So that's not very transparent. So I could see how, especially if you're a security, that's important. Like I could see, and keep in mind, this is for securities, right? But it also sets the precedent for the SEC to want it. Well, the SEC is for securities only, but who knows? I don't know if this sets the precedent. I'm just thinking out loud for like what is it? The FIDC or like there's another department. It escapes me the name. The name escapes me in this moment, but I hope this doesn't set precedent for the other crypto task force to go and decide to start monitoring all of crypto's decentralized chains I hope it doesn't create that scenario, right? But who knows? So anyway, this is something very interesting that the SEC is rolling out. Oh, this is the other department that I slaughtered the name of right now, which is the CFTC. See? So this is a little concerning to me. So as part of its recommendation, the SEC is urging a collaborative effort with the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, CFTC, to establish clearer regulatory guidelines. Anyway, who knows how far this idea will go. But as for now, as it pertains to securities, I can see it how it could be a good idea. So we'll see. So that's what's going on there. What else is going on? So President Trump, this is very, very good news for the market. And this is why I believe this is one of the reasons that Bitcoin continues to hold on strong at its price, is that President Trump is no longer expected to impose sector-specific tariffs. I mentioned this briefly in my yesterday's video. Go watch it if you haven't watched it already. And he's going to do this on April 2nd, according to the Wall Street Journal. So thanks to this, the S&P 500 is now up 75 points on the news. Isn't this great? This is great. While this is what I was talking about in my yesterday's video. I believe I called it retaliation taxes. That's not right. He's renaming tariffs to reciprocal levies or reciprocal taxes on targeted set of nations that account for the bulk of foreign trade with the US. So this is great. It's so funny how just like changing the name of something, even though it's going to mean the same thing, changing the name can like reduce resistance sometimes. If that helps you in other areas of your life. I hope it does. What else? Okay, guys, this is where we start to get into the juicy part of today's show, if I could say so myself, because we know that Trump's family, or Trump, I don't believe it's like him directly. I believe it's probably his kids or those he has running his World Liberty financial company, crypto sort of fund. But it does seem to imply some, like, perhaps slightly inappropriate financial benefit for a president running a country that's also supporting and marketing the same stablecoins for the US nation that they run as they are for their private companies' holdings. So I do see a bit of a conflict of interest there. But then again, we know it's not actually him, it's those people that he has running World Liberty Financial. Anyway, the point is that World Liberty Financial, a Trump company, just created. It's not fully running, so don't fall for this. Don't go buy it. It's not available yet. So anything you buy right now is probably a scam. But the point is, and we'll look into that more here in a second, but apparently they tested or created a USD1 stablecoin. They created a new stablecoin basically on BNB chain. So this is enormous for the BNB ecosystem, which has already been seeing an increase in volume, which we'll see here in a second, just due to its like ease of use and cheap prices. I know I pay my team on BNB because it's just cheap, Anyway, with this news, BNB's Binance coin price rose 3%. So this is incredible, guys. Not only that, so hold that thought for a second, okay? Hold that thought. But what we're also seeing in the meantime, this was shared by Athena on X, is that in the last 2 years, we have had only 2 periods where funding rates, right, averaged below a risk-free rate for more than 2 consecutive weeks. And both times, as you can see on my screen here, altcoins, or the alternative coins, went parabolic after this phase. And that is what we're seeing right now. As of last Friday, we recorded the 3rd period of funding rates being below the risk-free range. So just based off of this data, it looks like we are going to see altcoins start to pump here. Plus the BNB news, plus all this crypto-friendly regulation, plus China now testing its participation in crypto through Hong Kong, as you saw in that interview I played for you of CNBC live in Singapore. So you have to connect the dots to understand where we are in the market. No one can call it for sure, but you have to connect the dots. So it looks like, according to Ether National on X, they share these 2 interesting charts, and they basically point out that where we are now is similar to a low, to like the low we saw when Bybit was hacked, when Luna, remember Terra Luna, when they crashed back in 2021. And compared to the low of COVID's crash. So this is kind of interesting, extremely interesting, and signals to the fact that we are very much so at the bottom, which means we're going up from here. Combined with Bitcoin's RSI finally finishing off its downtrend and starting its move up. Like, connect all the dots. It's such an interesting time to be here. And you're so fortunate if you're here. So, so fortunate. Oh my gosh. Like, that's what this signals. It means if you can buy more Bitcoin, more Ethereum, BNB, I'd say Solana, of course, and then your other altcoin favorites, like, now is the time. But let me know what you go buy before you buy it, please, in the comments section below. And if I don't get back to you right away, then ask again, because I'm just doing many things trying to build up this effort to be the #1 source for you in getting caught up to speed with what's going on in the crypto market. If you're new, and be the source of information that you can come to and get all the dots connected for you. So there's a lot I'm working on behind the scenes. Anyway, very, very interesting where we are right now. What else? Okay, so now let's go back to this BNB conversation. All right. So we can see that separate of Trump's recent announcement of creating this USD1. And remember, it's not Trump president, but Trump as in Trump Holdings. Trump itself is like this giant brand that people also license to use the branding and create all sorts of companies. Like, even the meme coin that was created for Trump during the presidential inauguration wasn't him, right? It was like external parties who come in and ask if they can create something under Trump's branding or something. And so World Liberty is Trump, but I think it's more so his family and kids. And we can confirm that, of course, or let me know if you know more than I do. But this is what's so interesting about BNB, despite the Trump news, is that in the past week, BNB chain has had a spike in transactions. That's very interesting, isn't it? And look at how many new projects are being built on BNB. Like, you see how this purple line is just going up and up? Like, BNB is moving, making massive moves behind the scenes. And it's still cheap, relatively cheap. And you can see that according to CoinMarketCap, BNB's ecosystem dominated this week's gainers list. So it seems the tides are definitely starting to change and move in the crypto market, in the altcoin market. BNB, China is getting interested. Hong Kong is activating. Michael Saylor, through strategy, is buying more. The S&P 500 is up. So seems like something's in the air, something's moving, and you'll have to stay tuned or just follow the markets and tune back into my channel tomorrow, and we'll cover what else has been going on, because it's all very, very exciting. Super exciting. All right, guys, I love you very much, and I'll catch you guys here tomorrow. Take care. Bye.